Hi everyone, Bert from Season Gaming, and back with another closed door session overview / impressions. This one was probably the biggest one last year, and probably second place this year, if not first, depending on who you talk to. Cyberpunk 2077. So once again, closed door session, nothing really shown on the floor for the most part. They did have a shorter trailer that you could see on the floor. Lines were a bit ridiculous, so some people did get to see that. We got some more gameplay this time. We heard from the development team a little bit more. They showed us a little bit more of the skill tree and things that were currently going on. But on this one, they do show everything from the start of a mission and completing a mission. As we've joked in our E3 closed door sessions, once again, they showed the consequences of the choices that you make in a game, how it affects the game, how it affects the characters, how it affects a lot of things. So very impressive. We did have a few concerns on what we saw though, but overall we are still super excited about Cyberpunk. I don't think that hype is going to come down anytime soon.
No, this is easily one of my most anticipated games going into next year. It's coming out April 16th. We did get the release date at Xbox conference this year. Got a whole lot of Keanu, so we have to mention that, of course.
Yep.
But in the demo, they showed basically two different builds. So same mission, but how you could approach that depending on your player build. And they didn't get into the UI or the kind of mechanics of the player builds. They just showed a different way to approach the situation. One was more of a stealthy hacker type, and the game does have a hacking mini game in it. So if you're familiar with BioShock or any of those games where you have to do a mini game when you hack, what's the sci-fi one?
Mass Effect?
No.
Deus Ex.
Deus Ex, thank you, sorry. But similar to that, which is kind of neat, I like that. And then they also showed gunplay and various weapons you could find. There is weapon rarity in this as well, so probably building on those RPG mechanics. There's going to be a deep system similar to The Witcher, as you would expect. Speaking on the concerns we had, we don't know when this build was from. But the two things that jumped out to us, I think, and you can comment, is the gunplay looked rather, I don't want to say rough, but it looked just unpolished.
Correct.
Like it needed some more work. It seemed pretty basic, and the enemy animations, in terms of that gunplay, were pretty rough as well.
Yeah.
They just need more time, and maybe that's why, we heard they were trying to get this game out this year, but now it's April, so they were probably given another 4 to 6 months of development time. Which is a good thing, right? This is one of the most anticipated games, so it did look like in some areas it needed that. But any other things that jumped out to you that was negative?
I think the graphics, just in general, they didn't jump out to me as mind-blowing or anything. We've seen a lot of their trailers where it's not necessarily in-game as far as like what happens when you're playing gameplay. We've seen them using the game engine to render some kind of a CGI type trailer. So that's been the big thing. I mean, the trailer shown at E3, at Xbox's E3 briefing, was not in-game gameplay or anything like that. It was once again rendered. We saw Keanu's character at the very end. The mission starts out with Keanu in the background, and I've seen a lot of people compare him and his character like a Cortana to Master Chief relationship. He's there kind of in a hologram perspective. We've heard more that he got the second most lines out of any character in the entire game, so he's a pretty prominent character, and not simply a side character, someone that you see once or twice and that's really it. He's going to be one of the main characters of the game. You hack into something with another guy that wants you to do a mission for him, and that's where the mission takes off. You also leave and you traverse from one part of the city to another on the motorcycle, so that was something new that we hadn't seen. That didn't impress me at all either. I'm not sure why that didn't impress me, but the graphics weren't that impressive. It could have also been because they were talking while navigating the city instead of just taking off. It seemed kind of slow. It was very interesting to me, and the world was kind of barren, but I think you mentioned this as well, that the dev team told us that this part of the map is intentionally barren on purpose. So that is completely, potentially supposed to be that way. I don't want to say that the whole world's going to be. That'd be weird if the whole world was as empty as what they showed us. But as Ian said, the gameplay was just kind of weird. It wasn't as smooth and silky I was expecting from a game as big as Cyberpunk. Yeah,
agreed. And hopefully that's why they gave it the extra time. Like we said, I mean, we know how good The Witcher is. It's I think the greatest game of all time. But I mean, we know it's one of the best games of the generation, even if it's not your personal top 5. So I have no doubt that they're going to polish this game up to super high standards when it does release. It was great to finally see more of it. I said on Twitter actually that I think regardless of the complaints we had of it, what was shown is the capability to play through this massive world in many different ways. If you watched our Outer Worlds video from E3, we were talking about player choice and player selection, and we saw a lot of that in Cyberpunk as well. There's dialogue choices you can make as you go. There's things that can lead missions down different paths, different ways to approach, different character builds. So this is going to be another one of those games, I think even maybe more so than The Witcher, where you can, just play through this massive world multiple times, and I have no doubt that people are going to spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours in this world. Yeah,
and I definitely don't want it to seem like we're talking down on the overall game. Just what was shown to us was not as impressive as maybe we've grown used to or something. I think we still have full confidence in CD Projekt Red. It'll probably be next year's Game of the Year, or maybe contend with Last of Us or some other surprise that we don't even know about yet.
Halo Infinite.
Halo Infinite, or that's the time next gen's out. So we'll see what happens. Pretty excited to see it overall. Anything else you want to close with before we close this one out?
No, just a massive presence.
Yeah,
it's one of the biggest presents at this year's E3. They're obviously really getting ready for that ramp up.
Yeah, we had some lanyards that we had, and everybody was asking us where we got them, what we can do with them. I think we're going to show it right here. It was a pretty nice lanyard that we got. And we walked around E3 for 2.5 days with these visors on, looking pretty sweet. No, we didn't. They're kind of odd. But anyways, hopefully you enjoyed the video, guys. If you have any questions on anything that we saw, any questions that you just have in the game in general, we probably have an answer for you. If not, we can do our research and find it for you. Make sure to like and subscribe, and as we said before, check out our E3 playlist. We've got a lot of videos of gameplay footage and more of these closed door sessions and our impressions on it. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.